What if the very thing you were told was your power was actually your most invisible prison? What if your desirability wasn't a weapon, but a leash? They say female sexuality is power, that to be wanted is to be in control. But is that control, or conditioning? Nietzsche once warned, when a woman has scholarly inclinations, there is usually something wrong with her sexuality. He didn't mean it as a compliment. To him, female intellect was a violation of nature's design. Because in his world, a woman's strength was her beauty, and beauty was simply nature manipulating man. Desire, in Nietzsche's view, is not liberation. It's biological tyranny disguised as seduction. A woman rules only because she enslaves with softness. But Beauvoir would strike back. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. And what she meant was this. Even sexuality, even the body, is scripted. What you wear, how you walk, the way you smile just enough to be safe, but not enough to invite too much. None of it is yours. So here is the war. Nietzsche sees female sexuality as nature's ultimate victory. Beauvoir sees it as patriarchy's earliest weapon. This is the thinking war. Today we ask, is your power real, or just something they told you to believe in? There is a story we are all taught. A story that claims female sexuality is liberation, that to be desired is to be empowered, that seduction is strength, that attention is currency, that beauty is sovereignty. But we must ask, empowered by whom? For whose benefit? And by whose design? Because the moment a woman is taught that her body is her strongest asset, the economy of attention begins. She becomes her own product, her own promoter, her own prison. Nietzsche called beauty a function of power, but not power as agency, power as domination through desirability. It is not woman who wields this weapon, but nature itself, using her to weaken man. In this logic, a woman doesn't win. She's deployed. And then came modernity, where the chains became lingerie, and the cage was renamed choice. Beauvoir watched as society applauded women for reclaiming the very tools they had once been shackled with. But reclaiming is not the same as reowning. To choose the same role you were forced into is not freedom. It's just a better script. The body is not a thing. It is a situation. Simone de Beauvoir. And in that situation, we must ask, is female sexuality a rebellion, or just a more elegant form of compliance? Today, we tear apart the narrative of sexual power to expose what really holds the leash. Nietzsche did not romanticize beauty. He feared it. To him, beauty wasn't art. It was strategy, nature's camouflage, the velvet glove over biological manipulation. In his world, woman was not an agent, but a weapon, a soft blade wielded by something deeper than desire, nature's will to power. Nietzsche wrote, "The perfect woman is a higher type of human being than the perfect man, but she is also a much more dangerous one." Why dangerous? Because her power does not come from force, but from provocation. She does not conquer. She is the mirror in which man conquers, or collapses. He believed woman's sexuality was not her strength, but her function. She seduces not to express selfhood, but because seduction is nature's way of ensuring submission. Not hers, but his. This isn't misogyny. It's biology weaponized into philosophy. Nietzsche's view of female sexuality was brutal in its clarity. You are not in control when you are desired. You are being used, not by men, but by the machinery of life itself. Beauty is not a celebration. It is a trap, baited with perfume and symmetry, engineered to weaken the philosopher, the hero, the man of truth. Nietzsche brings no comfort, only the cold hypothesis. You are not empowered. You are deployed. Simone de Beauvoir never asked, "What is a woman?" She asked, more dangerously, "Who decides what a woman is?" And the answer, she found, was almost always not the woman herself. She argued that femininity is not a biological fact. It is a cultural prescription, a performance, a choreography rehearsed under the gaze of patriarchy. She is defined and differentiated with reference to man, and not he with reference to her. Beauvoir introduced the idea of othering. That woman is the eternal mirror. She reflects, she absorbs, she pleases, but she is not allowed to define. So what of sexuality? In Beauvoir's world, female sexuality is not expression, it's expectation. It is the costume worn for visibility, the mask that ensures approval, the bait that brings survival. She did not see seduction as power. She saw it as adaptation to surveillance. To be desirable is to be watched. To be watched is to be controlled. And to eroticize that control is to mistake permission for liberation. To be female is to be perpetually seen, but rarely known. In her eyes, the moment a woman believes her sexual power is self-owned, she is most captured, most loyal, most docile. Beauvoir doesn't ask us to be less beautiful. She asks, can you still be free? if being wanted is your only weapon? Nietzsche and Beauvoir do not disagree. They declare war from opposite ends of a battlefield. Nietzsche believes woman is powerful, but not through intellect, reason, or autonomy. Her power, he says, lies in her ability to provoke, to intoxicate, to manipulate the strong by triggering their weakness. But this is not respect. It's reverence for a trap. In his eyes, female sexuality is a cosmic strategy. Nature's will to dominate man without ever lifting a finger. Beauty is not chosen. It is assigned. Arzlan mac Barilam Degel, Berdoga Goravitter. Beauvoir explodes this idea. She does not deny the power. She denies the ownership. To her, sexuality is not a weapon women carry. It's a script they're forced to perform. And the moment they believe it's theirs, they are most controlled. Nietzsche sees the woman as a siren, dangerous precisely because she doesn't know she's dangerous. Beauvoir sees her as a product, dangerous only because she's been told danger is her only value. One praises her effect, the other mourns her construction. Nietzsche says, she is powerful because she provokes. Beauvoir says, she provokes because she has no other language. Have you ever felt that the only way to be seen was to be wanted, and that being known was never part of the deal? Scroll, pose, angle, repeat. In today's digital temple, female sexuality is no longer taboo. It's monetized. OnlyFans sells it. TikTok repackages it. Instagram filters it into algorithms. And all the while we whisper the same word, empowerment. But is it? Or is it the most sophisticated rebranding of submission ever staged? Nietzsche would smirk. He'd see this not as rebellion, but nature perfecting its grip, no longer needing biology, now using dopamine and Wi-Fi. He'd say, you no longer seduce for survival. You seduce for metrics. Arzu artic strategii degel, sector. And Beauvoir? She'd shatter the mirror. She'd scream that the body has been converted into content. That what is sold as liberation is simply a new format of control, where the chain is now held by the self. Because when your beauty becomes your brand, when your sexuality becomes your social currency, you don't own it. You serve it. Influencer culture doesn't free the woman. It refines the cage, now trimmed with LED lights and self-love mantras. And you are told, own your body. But what they mean is, rent it to attention. The question is, do you still want to be seen, if the price is never being truly known? They told you beauty was power, that your sexuality was your sword, that to be wanted was to be victorious. And maybe for a while, you believed them, because the gaze felt good, because being seen felt close to being known. But it wasn't. It was exposure, not recognition. It was approval, not affection. It was applause, not love. And now, maybe silently, you've begun to ask, if my worth disappears when I stop being desired, was it ever mine to begin with? Nietzsche warned you. Desire is nature's leash. You feel powerful only because you're being deployed. Beauvoir warned you. Your body is not your truth. It's a costume you were handed and told to wear until death. With a smile. So here you are. Powerful. Visible. Worshipped. But are you free?